So I think, welcome everyone with this second Climate Cafe on Montpellier and planning, a Climate Cafe in the field. And this is, of course, part of the Climate Cafe online second part that I every week do with Sydney. We'll get back to that. Maybe as a short recap, because we were going to dive into some maps and some information we got after the last episode. So. Well, let me just start. We had a first session to get each other, but also the challenges and solutions, and also the tools. We got to know Climate Cafe online, Climate Cafe in the field, but also Climate Scan. And session two, that's this one. It's about mapping green blue in Montpellier and planning, of course, also the field cafe, which will be already next week. And last time, there's a whole episode of it. You can watch that back. I'm just flagging it with also the link so you can see what happened last time. A lot of happy faces, of course. We discussed the Climate Cafe online. So here are all the links. And then on the right, it's the Climate Cafe in the field. And maybe just flagging what we do online. Would you have two sentences for us, Sydney? What do we do every week, and where do we talk about here in this Climate Cafe online?
Two sentences, all right, I'll try. We discuss mainly green-blue infrastructures, but also a lot of other infrastructures that has to do with water and climate adaptation, mostly in urban areas, but also in rural area. And we discuss topics from technical stuff like solar panels or infiltrating pavement to social projects where participation plays a role.
Yeah, excellent. And all these episodes you can watch back. So you can go to cities, partner city Barcelona, for example, with Mark, other cities as well. And of course, Montpellier will be one topic of that as well. So just to catch up, because this most of you already knew, I think it was a very good session. I think we discussed some new data as the green spaces, so that will be presented later from France. We also discussed a list of measures and one new measure like cable gutters that might be a risk for mosquitoes. So that will be on the agenda of next week to see if that's there. I will show you the list of measures that we can discuss. Then for the program, discuss later as well with Thomas, there's actually two types of urban areas that we might want to visit. One is the existing old urban area and also new development, because a lot of nature-based solutions will be implemented there. So there might be additional risk. So that could be a division. And then, of course, next week, some will be in the field, but most of you that are online now can participate next week. So placing your favorite locations that we have to visit on the map, for example. And then we have the back office, then you can join, and then we will have results already next week, of course. And then we can evaluate as well, because within the projects, there will be some other partner cities being visited as well. I showed Climate Scan. We focused after last meeting on some of the risk NbS that we can visit. So this is one of the Climate Scan categories that we can visit. This is a list with cable gutters and number one. And then there's a list from other projects that are related to mosquito diseases and also nature-based solutions. So I'm not want to get into this, but it would be great if you see some of the measures not on this list. We might can discuss or put it in the chat so we can also highlight that next week, I would say. And I will put this list also in the chat so you can watch that later. So some new data, but I think first we go to France. Will be OpenStreetMap. There are a lot of mapped, maybe interesting sites that related. This is insect hotels, for example, could be a relationship with some of the locations we want to visit. We also took some of in the green spaces, as you can see here, indicated with blue. So these are a lot of data maps that we already have that could be very useful in the field next week. But again, we're going to see what's out there And I think I'm gonna leave it at here because it would be great to hear the new data that comes from France, I would say. So I will stop sharing. Or if there are any questions about this, please let us know. And I will put the list of measures in the chat. Shall we go to France? Because we already saw a great map with a lot of pointers. It would be great to visit that again, if possible. And then afterwards we can go to Thomas as well, that pinpointed some locations on the map.
Yeah,
And then we
What's the plan, I guess? Flo, are you around?
Yes, I'm around, but need to know what is my screen, perhaps.
Yes, you are sharing.
I share something,
we see your screen.
but what screen?
Yeah.
Ton fond d'écran et voilà, ton bureau, là, ton fond d'écran.
Non, mais ça va pas. C'est pas le bon. Donc ça va pas. Mais comment je fais pour relire le partage?
Je arrête. Il est où ton map?
Il est là.
Ok. On tourne là-dessus. On a des questions?
Bah oui, c'est ça mon problème. Je vais partager. C'est pour ça que je l'avais mis en avance en me disant que j'avais peut-être écran.
Si fenêtre 5, tu devrais voir les plusieurs fenêtres, peut-être si tu cliques dessus. Et la télévision. C'est l'inverse. Ah, ok.
Is it okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Oof. Teams is not my friend. Huh? So I just identify some sites. Some of them are among those we are following in diverse projects in Montpellier. For example, this one is one of the cool schools we are following. Here is the botanical garden, where we collected data in 2023, as well as in Parc de l'Aiglon here. I just put a mark here, which is the city of Grabel, where Mathilde and Céline and Stéphane collect data still now. And this is the site where we are discussing, where we were discussing last time, the Lironde and Port Marianne site. So we will have a meeting tomorrow with someone of the Metropole of Montpellier, and we hope that probably he will guide us on the field to discover this site during the workshop. Okay?
Yes.
And I identify also Parc Edith Piaf, Parc Rimbaud, some of the sites, I don't know how can I say, which will be probably included in the Leading Lab Lunam with Marie-Jeanne who is here. And also this site, site Bonnier-Mosson. And I think that's all for me. So I can zoom in some of the sites if you want. It was just to give you some possibility that we can visit next week. Yes,
Yeah.
If I can just complement before you speak, Sander, it matches with both of your categories. I mean, some of them are existing blue-green spots in dense urban areas like the Botanical Garden, for example, which is one of the oldest in Europe, by the way, compared to Wageningen. So it's an old spot that has been here forever, and new spots that are under development. For example, you know, those schools are schools that are being vegetalized right now. So this is something happening, and other places like some of this park, like for example, the site in Mosson, are also undergoing development. So they both match both of your categories.
Nice. Yeah. Sander, you wanted to reflect.
Yeah, thanks, Florence, for this preparatory work and sort of see like the sites that you have sort of pre-selected and a sort of a mix of old and new developments. It's really nice to see. I was just trying to look and also thinking practically maybe a bit like what the scale is, because I mean I've been in Montpellier a few times, but mostly in the city center. Like at what kind of scale are we looking from north to south, or how easy is it to travel from site to site, or to move from site to site?
It will depend. We can use tram to go there. Some of the sites are not very far away from a botanical garden, so we can walk. It depends on how many people we are to go in different sites. We can use our cars also, but it will be difficult to have bicycles.
Yeah, indeed. I understand that last time after my suggestion to use bikes. Yeah. Yeah, I think on Monday morning we might want to have a good plan, also with some additional sites that Thomas will show later. So yeah, you also had a question, Thomas? You raised your hand or reflections?
No, it was by accident, but
Oh,
no, I'm looking at the map right now for distances and for reference of Sander from our hotel to in the city center to Port Marianne. It's a 2-kilometer walk, and so it's a short, easy after breakfast walk, and
We can use tram to go there.
yeah, but it's easy to walk, I think, and around like Parc Rimbaud and Parc Edith Piaf are very close. It's very compact, I think.
yeah. So we can make a good plan to visit most of the sites, of course, in 2 days. If something is left, some of the consortium are they're a bit longer, of course, and
Yep.
we might be able, of course. This is already great, so we can see all the locations that are of interest. So yeah, Frédéric, come in.
Yes, we don't have to go everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends of the breadth of the characterization that you want to have there. What is exactly the aim? I mean, what do you want to do once on site? If it's just having a look around for 5 minutes, or do you want to measure things to document what kind of work are we going to do on site?
Yeah, it's a good point. You want to answer that maybe, Sander, from the point of mosquitoes or?
Well, I think initially we wanted to also to get a broad collection of interesting sites. So in that sense, we don't need to spend much time per site, but rather sort of maybe discuss like, okay, what kind of category is it? I mean, to me, that's all new. I mean, for you, Flores and others, you are familiar, and you can probably also explain a bit more about the functions or like or the reasons for why such infrastructure has been implemented in such a place.
Yes.
Because after the workshop we will have another project-related workshop, which goes into actual mosquito collections on site and the harmonized sampling protocol that Laura and the rest of the team is developing. And in there, we will actually put out traps. We will discuss like where to place traps, how to optimize all that. So we don't need to do extensive surveys per locations. We can just quickly scan, for example. I don't know, Frederick, what we can expect right now in terms of activity of Aedes albopictus, whether they are still active and around.
It's getting slow.
But
But
we
still.
can, yeah, okay. So we can find or see a few aquatic sites, maybe quickly inspect them, but and maybe it's helpful if we have some dippers or some if we want to sort of take some samples, but I would say we don't need to do extensive surveys as such per site. I rather cover a larger area shortly than a few sites extensively. But I mean, if others have other or better suggestions, of course I'm open to that.
In many of these sites, as Florence mentioned, we have ongoing follow-up monitoring of vector densities and vector populations through either ovi traps or adult collection in most of these sites, but not all. Others have other objectives. That's why the LUNAM is here also. So what we want to do here is to kind of get beneficial, reciprocal benefits about these trips, so that those sites where we are working can be more deeply characterized through the ClimateCafe, and that it allows also the ClimateCafe to have the climate scan to include these sites, and maybe get other data that we are not monitoring, or if there's overlaps, that's good. These are parts of the site of the biodiversity project, but also the Living Lab, who are part of us, and there's also Montpellier, who is mapping his own green spaces, with their own questions about how to maintain these things. So that's a mix of things that we want to come together through these 2 days.
Sander?
Yeah, so maybe also a question then to you, Floris. Like, what is the standard data that you collect? I mean, besides sort of a category of a certain nature-based solution, what other metadata do you usually collect? I guess you take a picture. Of course, you have the X and Y coordinates.
Yeah.
What else is needed to put the point on ClimateScan?
Exactly. Mostly we do polygons, so we see the dimensions as well. And of course, visiting is totally different than seeing from a picture. So that therefore it's very important to just go to the field. Sometimes we do also interviews, because I think that the most interesting part would be the categories. So from these points, and I think we can visit a lot of them, there are different categories, and from those categories, for example, the amount of gullypots that have stagnant water where there could be risk. And it's great to, with you, all the knowledge that you have on vector diseases, to see if we're right on that track. So what we collect mostly is a lot of footage. So it's photos, videos, dimensions. Also, we'll open some gullypots or see what's around from our knowledge. I think it would be great at some of the locations that there's already monitoring of vector diseases to know how. So the story behind it, that will be very helpful as well. So together we get into quite a database, and indeed the location and category is very important. And I shared the categories that could be a first start in the chat. So if there's any more of interest that you know of, please add to the chat, I would say. Thomas, you want to say something very important?
Yes, I want to say something very important. I think the most important thing about ClimateScan is post-processing. So afterwards, when we have mapped the location, it doesn't matter whether it's a polygon or just a point. If we add a little description or discussion we had in the field, afterwards we can post-process the project. We can do that, you can do that. And you can always add important information afterwards. So if we have an article or some different research result, or Sander goes back and wants to see how it looks in 5 years, you can fill in the blanks. So that's the most important thing I think about what we are going to do. It's just a starting point, and adding important information later.
Yeah.
Well, was that important enough for you, Floris?
I think that's very
Oh.
important. So
it's also a matter of scale, because what we have in mind, us, maybe a mix of different categories where you could be able to highlight that this part, for example, the botanical garden will probably tick several of your lines.
yes,
There, there will be a fountain, there will be a green wall, or these kind of things inside what we consider as a single spot. So that will be interesting to get together and see this kind of breadth I was talking about earlier, about what kind of data, metadata we can increment in this thing.
indeed. Yeah, you sold it very well. I'm very looking forward to go to the botanical garden. And indeed, we already saw some of the fountains and green wall there as well. We can visit it a bit later. And for ClimateCafe, we can add everything. Also, if we have some interviews, because sometimes it's very good to use the citizen science. We as a scientist come there maybe once or twice a year. But some of the people living near ponds or bioswales, they would know how long the water will be stagnant there. So that could also be incorporated in ClimateScan at several levels, that we can add links with background information and everything. And later with polygons, we can even do calculations, and that could be related to the risk. So that's quite nice. All right. There was a proposal maybe to zoom in on one point. Would that be nice? Maybe go to the botanical garden? Because is there any underlying information besides the point, or can we?
For the moment, no more information except the mark.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
We have information, and there are a lot of information in the botanical garden, because there is botanists, there is a lot of people who are working there from a long time. So
yeah, indeed.
So
and
there is
yeah,
the botanical garden with the pond. There is some you say
Greenhouses.
Greenhouses.
Yes.
yeah.
And there is bamboo. There is a lot of things.
Yeah, exciting. And also this was one of the locations that you already do monitoring, right?
Yes.
So where did you find the mosquitoes? Maybe to get short.
There were 5 traps in the botanical garden, so different places were followed. There is also ovi traps, and also larval collection when we found larvae, mosquito larvae. So this disperse.
Yeah, Sander.
Yeah, so talking about this and what Fred said, I think that's also good also for me to realize that sort of we see like the botanical garden as one sampling point, but it may actually be a sort of a collection of different nature-based solutions there, as you say, like green walls, fountains or water bodies, and so forth. So that's, I think, quite important to realize. And there was something else I wanted to say. Now I forgot, but maybe I'll get back to that later.
Yeah, sure. No, but this is a great start. So we have.
Oh yeah, I remember. Sorry.
Yeah, Sander, go.
What I liked about also reading your papers, Floris, is the how do you say it, the DNA of the NbS. What I'm trying to.
Yeah.
NbS DNA, or how do you call it?
Yeah, the DNA of cities about NbS.
In terms of their nature-based solutions and how that differs among the cities. Are there certain nature-based solutions that are really dominant or dominating, or how does Montpellier stand out?
Yeah.
When you would compare to other cities that we already have a better idea of, that would be for me an interesting point, because of course Montpellier is one city. We have multiple cities within our project, multiple European cities and a city in Morocco. So one of the goals of the project is also to better understand how unique each location is in terms of these nature-based solutions. And is there something that you can translate to all other cities, or is each city unique in that sense? And on the other hand, like, to what extent can we learn from each other? Like, what's happening, the developments happening right now in Montpellier, probably they're in terms of also of climate, that's what's becoming relevant in some years from now for the Netherlands. So that's what I also see as an important objective as an outcome of this exercise next week.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. And for others, I placed that graph of DNA of different cities in the chat. And indeed, after 2 days, and of course more during the project, we will get a sense of what the DNA of Montpellier would be. And we already did some work in Barcelona, so there will be already, it's of course indications, but and the visits are very needed, because also the design guidelines, or how these nature-based solutions are built, is quite important to view risks. The empty time or the slopes, or they're a lot different. So, but that's a lot of detail. I think already the DNA of the cities would be very interesting to compare risk, I would say, and especially because there's monitoring already. I'm quite excited to see that in the botanical garden, how the traps would look like, or that gives a better vision for more the nature-based people to know where to look for, or see what the risks are. Yeah. Nice. This is really good, I would say. So we have locations. Any more topics? We can slowly maybe go to the map, because these are points that we're going to visit. Do you want to share maybe some of the points on ClimateScan and show the layer, Thomas? Would that be?
I think it's
No.
possible, but I think we.
Or should I do?
No, but we shared most of the locations we already have on ClimateScan, because they came up with basically the same places like Port Marianne, and we have the ClimateScan layer of the green parks.
Yeah. So we
and the gardens.
Yeah.
And
indeed,
like Frederick said, it's a good mix between old situations and new development. So, and what we learned from our visits is when we are there, we see it with a lot of experience from other cities, and we can reflect on this experience and talk about it, and that helps to define the DNA as well. So it starts in the field already.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, we'll just so at this map you can go to Barcelona, but of course we go to Montpellier. We just put some of the interesting points on the map. So this could be this is indeed near. What you can see is some of the ponds, indeed fountains. So you see different colors. Different colors indicate a different category. And we don't go into detail, but of course these locations might be very of interest, what we can see, and of course the gardens as well. And just want to flag, because not everybody might be very familiar, there are layers, and one layer to be put up is already for Montpellier, and then you can see some of the green areas. So there are some data sets that we can use as well, and these overlay, of course, the points. So you can see that maybe this is an interesting point from the layer, but also other points as well. So that's
It's just in front of your hotel.
Oh, is it? So that's very easy to visit. Indeed, and these we will map. Of course, this will be probably 100 or more locations, and then we can compare. That's the value, of course, with Barcelona or Marrakesh or other cities, for example. So I just wanted to show that. And also for the team that want to contribute, not being in the field, but if you have an interesting site that should really be on the map, please do so. And of course, if you watch this later than October in 2025, this will be a continuous mapping, I would say. Yes, Sander.
Yeah, you just mentioned the number of 100. Is that indeed sort of the target that you had in mind, or that we should have in mind, or which makes it comparable with other initiatives that you already had in other cities elsewhere?
Yeah, it's a good question. Barcelona is 96, so I think we can do better. That would be. No, I think walking in the field. So, for example, with Thomas, we did London in 3 days. That's about, I don't know, 200. It really depends, of course, where you are. In London, we already had indications of where bioswales, rain gardens, and green roofs were. This might be more difficult, but I'm sure we get between 50 and 100. Because if we add the locations that are on the map now and already on the map that's just been shown of Montpellier, I'm quite confident we get a good number. And of course, it's never the right number because we don't know. We cannot stretch the whole city, but it's a good indication to compare other cities, I would say, because it's the same method. So what do you think, Thomas? Less or more than 100?
Well, 2 days in rainy France, I think. Next week it will be rainy.
Yeah.
So let's be positive, but I think 75 or so. Yeah.
Okay. So that's a good direction.
Yeah, but I think when we see the city through very different eyes than the people who know the city, and I think that's the value of mapping with different eyes and seeing new stuff. When you're used to your own city, you're blind for all new possibilities and old problems. So I think having little discussions and little walks, we'll see something new around every corner. So 75 is the number for me.
Yeah, indeed. And you say that rain might be a disadvantage, but for this research, it might be very nice to see where puddles are. Or where
I'm as Dutch as you are. I'm not complaining.
Exactly.
But,
yeah. Because that's one question as well. Nature-based solutions don't have to be harmful. A lot of in the Netherlands, as bioswales, 99% will be empty within a couple of hours. Actually, if you see water stagnant for longer periods, and most of the consortium will be there for a couple of days, that might be a very good visual monitoring as well of potential risk. So that might be the best weather that we could wish for. Let's stay positive, as Thomas would say. Yeah. Okay. I think we touched on everything that we wanted to do. So it's exchange knowledge on the locations. Of course, a detailed plan on how we gonna move and how many people are there and how we split up, and we can do that Monday in the field. Are there any other things that we should discuss in this online climate cafe? No, everybody's happy? Yeah, Florence?
Probably just a change in the different visits. I have just been called by the botanical garden. So the responsible of the botanical garden won't be available on the morning of Monday. So we probably go first to the school and then to the botanical garden in the afternoon.
Nice.
He would like to be here to show you the botanical garden.
Yeah. I think that's the highlight of the trip, if I understand Frederic and others as well. So yeah, that will be amazing. Yeah. Really looking forward to it. And I think more smiling faces there. Yeah. So if there's not anything to add, I think we can close this session. We do more details later, and of course we get back to the results. And if you are here online and you cannot make it to Montpellier, of course, please feel free to add your favorite projects on ClimateScan if you watch this. So and then Sydney, what are we going to do next week? I'm actually in Montpellier then. So what are you going to do next week?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm still here, sadly, but it'll also be fun. Next week, we're gonna have a PhD student, Rianne Wassink, from the work. She's working on the Thirsty Cities project. So a few weeks back, 2 weeks back, we had the 3 sessions of the Thirsty Cities, and we already spoke some of the researchers and also PhD students that are taking part of it, but we missed some. So I invited Rianne Wassink. She's working for the Wageningen University, as I said, but also for Rijkswaterstaat, so the national organization. And she's going into the topic of water problems versus drought, and then mainly on who gets which water. So, for instance, problems between water boards and the municipality where I'm working on. We want to keep the water, but they also want to have the water, and she's looking in the trade-offs in measures taken for floods that can also lead to droughts and yeah, all the problems around that. So gonna be nice again.
Nice. Yeah. Also looking forward to that. Okay. Then I think with that we can close this session. And thanks everyone, especially for the presentation from France. It looked very good. Looking forward to it. And see most of you next week, and otherwise online also next week. Have a great evening.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep. Au revoir.
See you next
Bye.
week.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.